This is Justin AMZN on Monday, March 2nd, 2020. Take a look at the 5-minute. We had a nice bullish retest gap, gapped up just slightly. On the daily, you can see we continued on higher, right back up into this channel. That's what we're anticipating. That was going to be a continued move. Wasn't just a straight shot into it. Like I said, gapped up. Then we pulled back, had a little kind of 1, 2, 3 back down. Then started to rally. And with that rally, we had a pause. We're in the same area that we paused at the other day. Moved right back up into our downtrend channel here. Made kind of a double top on that and paused right around the neckline. Actually made a double bottom slightly here. Still kind of retested somewhat this neckline and then rolled back down right back into the same choppy zone here. This one was a stair step. This one was somewhat of a Morningstar reversal here into a stair step and then started to rally into the close. Had a much stronger rally in the last hour of the day today rather than the last 15 minutes of the day on Friday. And there were some opportunities in there for things to really get going. Really calling this, this area as a bounce. I mean, it's just bounced in here before. It's right around 1900, nice round number. It ran into this price, 1900, as resistance earlier in the day on this move up. So it makes sense that it would be able to retest back into this same zone and bounce. But obviously it didn't have to hold. And this did sort of look like a bit of a rollover. It just doesn't seem like we're ready to have a rollover yet. One thing I also noticed, I just wanted to kind of draw in here, is if you just kind of connect these from the low we had right before close and then the two lows today, I mean, they really line up well. So if you had just earlier in the day connected these 2 points and then drawn your high from the rally we had yesterday, kind of crazy, but it really lines up well. So I'm going to extend this to the right. It called the top here, called the bottom here, and called the top again here, just by connecting some points. So this obviously is hindsight, but had you just drawn in, is it going to sketch? It's being a little slow for me. Okay. Drawn in these 3 points and extended gives you also 1, 2, and a 3. Yeah, I would like to know that that's the range it's going to play into. So normally I'm waiting a day or two, like 2 or 3 days before kind of sketching something in that feels like it's a good fit. This one, it's a pretty aggressive bullish angle upward. I mean, we've had this kind of downtrend that was working for a little bit, and then it wasn't as clean. This one is really aggressive. This is really strong, which if this kind of an angle continues, I mean, we're going to have a massive rally. Now, it by no means needs to continue. It could change lanes really quickly. If I duplicate it and move it down over here, we could do something where we get into another range of it here if we do have some sort of a pullback. That's entirely possible. But right now, this is the angle that we've essentially bounced at or rallied at or dead cat bounced at, whatever it is. That's kind of the rally that this is the angle that we're seeing until we get another one, a different angle that actually matches up. But this one, I mean, you can see the ranges are really, really clear here. Obviously, it doesn't line up at this high here, but there's some major levels. Like we go from a low to a high to a low to a high to a low to a high, rather than going from a low to a high to another high to a low. So, that's one reason I like this kind of movement here. Now, let's say you drew that in at this point. And you thought, well, hey, if I can get in on here, I'll ride it up till it gets up to the top of this. That could have worked. And then again, trade it back down. Now you don't know where it's going to trade back down to, but you have this zone plus this as an overlap. Okay, get in over here and hold till you get up here. Now that may turn into what you think is a swing trade. It just made it up there one day. So let's look first at about 9:30. What happened after this? If there was a good place to get in bullish. This is the 2000 strike call expiring this Friday. 9:30, putting a low here of 41. And a little while later, just half an hour later, we put in a low of 515. This price at 10 o'clock matched up with basically looking like a double bottom on this on the option, even though the price was of the stock was way up here in this zone. So there's that much premium decayed even on this kind of a rally, and then the next 15 minutes that the option was worth close to the same price. I mean, not the same price. Obviously, this is still about was it 40 something, 44? Nope, that would be 34. It's so it still looks like a double bottom here, but I guess the point is that you could have set up an entry based on this candle and it bouncing at this price. Okay, you could get in like 550 by 450 or 5 by 4. Now 5 by 4 wouldn't have filled, but if you had done 550 by 450, that would have been a great trade. You would have held that right back up into that high, the high being up here. And this move up would have told you, okay, I'm going to get out at, I mean, once it's getting close, it's like, okay, there's a couple candles up in here. So from 10:55 to 11:05, do you think it would have told you that time frame was when to get out? 10:55 to 11:05. Yeah, get out in the same time frame, which is actually the same place that this triangle broke down. You're getting out right at $10. So you're in at 550, out at $10. There you go. There's 4.5R. I like it. Obviously, it's hindsight, but if you had that kind of a framework, it just goes to, I guess, support the horizontal lines we've had in here. And I know there's some crisscrossing. I can get rid of this one and kind of ignore this if we're changing lanes or if we're changing angles and moving up instead of down. It kind of cleans it up a little bit. Let's just say you were going off of 1900, and you got in for this kind of a stair step here. So you're getting in above this and stop below it. So you're triggered in at 1010 and your stop is down here below 1005. So just doing that, you're in at 1010 or maybe a pullback from 1010. So maybe you're in at, I can't say 650, but maybe you're in at 7 and your stop is down below 1005. So you're in at 7 and your stop is down around 550. So it's a $150 risk. So you would want to go out another strike or another couple strikes or something to bring that into a little bit of tighter range. But still, you're in at maybe 7 instead of 550, obviously. So you've given up something, but you still are able to catch some of this move. And then you get out when it hits the next pivot. So it goes from here, it makes a new high in the day, and you're back up at 1925, another nice round number. So it hits 1925 at 1040. And so you're getting out at 1040, which is right here at 9. So you're in it like 7, out at 9, $150 risk. So, it's a little more than an R, but it's still, taking a gain just based on the horizontal lines we've got in here. So the area we talked about buying was over here. Really nice candle, nice hammer candle, right into the same area that this was giving us a bit of a pause. So if we're getting in over here, like 145, and looking for a continuation, now with the calls around 145, sorry, what time is it at? 140, 145, yeah, okay. So I was actually over here. So again, we do some sort of double bottom, actually, this time making a lower low here than here. And this is one of those that, it's possible that you could have been stopped out just because just the way that the option premium got sucked out of it. Yeah, if you had been looking to get in on that kind of a candle, you're in at 450 maybe by 350, and I guess that you would have still been in as long as you didn't move your stop. It just took a little while to get it going. Now, because it made some new lows, you would have been hesitant to get in. Maybe you would have taken the breakout in this case, setting something up like 5 by 4, 5 by 350, something like that would have been a way to kind of weigh down the movement and hopefully get filled here. And that would have, sorry, I keep switching back and forth. Let's see. That would have been at 230 as it broke out. So 230 was, way up here. Yeah, this whole thing was just sideways on the option. So maybe you pick a different strike. Maybe you get a little closer here. What's the 1975 doing? Ugh, horrible line. 1950, probably too pricey. Yeah, a little bit expensive. Really expensive. Okay, looks like we're stuck with 2000. Just gotta, set it up and look to, really make a lot of R's or lose a whole solid R. There's not really much room in between, and you're probably still getting out about 10 at the same price here, and it's way back up. In this case, it pauses there, but you're looking for a target up here. If you had this kind of uptrend channel drawn in, but it's really interesting that the lows here were not the lows of the options. Or let me say it again. The low here was the low in the option. The low here was really when to look at the option, but not to get into it until it had really started cranking up. And then this was the price to buy into the option when it paused on its way up. So it's moving up. It's moving in the direction that we want to go. So we're getting, we're waiting for this kind of move. We're getting in here. We're waiting on this kind of move. And I guess you could say you're getting in a similar stair step. So you don't have to buy the bottom. You don't have to buy the low. You're going to wait for the low to come in. You're going to wait for some bullishness to come in. And then when it rests, that's when you're getting into the calls. And that happened twice today. That is a very difficult lesson in options. It's something that you have to wait to play it aggressively. The signals are all there. Everything's saying it's reversing. When it comes to the option and the price that you're going to pay in the option, it's not moving as cleanly as a 5 minute. For trading stocks, yeah, get in on the candles, get in on Morningstar reversals, get in on the hammers. When it comes to the option, you've got time. In this case, you had like half an hour. In this case, another half an hour to wait and then to get in after it has that kind of move. So that's looking at the calls. I'm guessing the puts were very similar up here. Let's take a quick look at puts. This was 11 o'clock. And I'm looking at the 1700 puts. Really, really light volume, but I found this was kind of the best option, just in terms of $100 risk. So right around 11 o'clock, we're putting in a price around $3. Still available an hour later. And an hour later was over here. It was retesting, not this low, but it was still retesting like a double top here. You could have really been getting in. This was a nice trap here where it made a higher high and then just sunk, and then proceeded to take out the lows of some of these candles. Again, probably would have needed this uptrend channel drawn in. If you didn't, though, this is still a double top. Let's look to get it on the neckline retest. So that would have been over here, like 105, 110, 105, 110 was yet another hour later, and you're still getting in like 350 instead of 3. And you can still do 350 by 250 instead of like 3 by 2. And it still has a nice 2-hour move from 350 up to 550. So that still works. I don't like this option. It's just really, really light volume. You can get a little bit closer. So the same kind of thing, double bottom here, retesting the neckline, or the price it put in when it retested the neckline was around 550. I still don't like these options. They're just really light. This being a Monday makes it a little harder just because Friday is so many days away. But here's a nice double bottom holding that same level low, giving you a nice retest. So this would have been a 10 by 8. 10 by 9 maybe. What's the low in here? Maybe 10 by 9. Maybe. I'm not crazy about this one. But all this to say, you could have been buying pretty much the same price an hour later, another hour later, paying up a little bit. In this case, instead of getting in at 8, or maybe 850 by 750, you could have been getting in like 10 by 9 or 950 by 850. So you would have been moving up, losing an hour in the entry by waiting in an hour over here, from waiting, you waited an hour from this point when it made the high to this point getting in, or you waited another hour. So 2 hours getting in here, giving up an R on the entry, waiting for it to really show you the pattern it's playing out with. In this case, a double bottom on the on the option, and a double top on the 5-minute stock. So that was the bullish setups and bearish setup, and we'll see if this gives us any sort of guidance into the next couple of days or anything this week. So hope this helps. This is Justin AMZN. Thanks.